Hello students, in this video I want to explain about the nitrites. In the previous classes we have learned about the carbides. In analogy with the oxides, we have the carbides, nitrites, halides. Already we have learned what is meant by the carbide. Okay na? In this class now we are going to learn about the nitrites. Nitrites are the compounds of the nitrogen that we know very well. Yes. So first of all we go for the definition. As usually nitrites are defined as the binary compounds of the nitrogen formed with the elements whose electronegativity is less than itself are called as the nitrates. In a similar way, we define carbides as the compounds of the carbon formed with the elements whose electronegativity is less than carbon are called as the carbides. In the similar way, oxides are the compounds of oxygen formed with the elements whose electronegativity is less than the oxygen. In the similar way, halides means the compounds of the halogens formed with the elements whose electronegativity is less than itself. When an element combines with the other elements whose electronegativity is less than itself, generally it gains the electrons and it gets the negative charge. And we call the negatively charged single atoms as the with the ide suffix. For example, look here. We call Cl minus as the chloride ion. In the similar way, we call Br minus as the bromide ion, I minus as the iodide ion. Okay, and N minus 3 nitrate ion, and O minus 2 oxide ion, OH minus ion hydroxide ion. So, like that, the more electronegative atoms gains the electrons and forms the anions. As a result, they get the ide suffix in their name. So, like that, we can easily remember what is meant by nitrates, what is meant by carbides, what is meant by halides, and what is meant by oxides. Okay na? If you know the inner meaning, there is no need to by heart the things. Okay na? So that is the definition for the nitrites. Now we go for the classification of the nitrites. And before going to that, let us have a look which elements have electronegativity less than the nitrogen. Okay na? Nitrogen electronegativity is 3. As we are seeing here in this slide, electronegativity of nitrogen is 3. Okay, here it is 3. And the elements which lie on the left side of this element generally have the less electronegativity, because we know very well that in periods electronegativity increases whenever we move from left to right. Okay, now this is the left side and this is the right side. So whenever we move from left to right, electronegativity increases. And we have to remember that fluorine is the element which has the highest electronegativity, and its electronegativity is 4. How we have to remember this one? F for fluorine, F for 4. F for fluorine, F for 4. Like that we can easily remember, and fluorine is the most electronegative element. And oxygen is the second most electronegative element, that is 3.5. And luckily we have a trick here to remember the electronegativity of the second period elements. Lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine are the second period elements. Electronegativity of the, as you are seeing in this slide, electronegativity of the lithium is 1, and electronegativity of the fluorine is 4, and electronegativity of the beryllium, which comes which is lying adjacent to the lithium, is 1.5. Like that, Here, whenever we move from lithium to fluorine, we observe the 0.5 difference, 0.5 difference in the electronegativity of these elements, second period elements. Okay, so generally the elements which lie left side to an element have the less electronegativity. Okay, na? And the elements which lie on the right side of an element in the periodic table generally will have the more electronegativity, because whenever we move from left to right, metallic character decreases, non-metallic character increases due to the increase in the nuclear charge. And as we move from top to bottom in a group, electronegativity decreases. Here phosphorus electronegativity is 2.1. It is less than the electronegativity of the nitrogen, and arsenic electronegativity is 2. Like that, you can easily remember. Next we go for the classification of the nitrides. As we have learned in carbides, here also nitrates are classified into 3 types. First one of them is the ionic nitrates, second one of them is the covalent nitrates, and the third one of them is the interstitial nitrides. Okay, na? In the carbides also we have the same type of classification: ionic carbides, covalent carbides, and what is that, interstitial carbides. In carbides, again ionic carbides or salt-alike carbides are divided into the 3: methanides, esterides, and allylides. In carbides, what is that, we have methanides. In carbides we have the methanides, allylides, and acetylides. Here such type of classification we don't observe in the nitrides. Okay, na? Here carbides are classified, ionic carbides are classified into the methanides, allylides, and esterides depending on the products they give during the hydrolysis. But here all ionic hydrates are salt-alike nitrides. Ionic nitrates are salt-alike nitrides. When they undergo hydrolysis, give ammonia only. So that's why here we don't have such type of classification which we observe in the carbides. Okay, so now on the whole we have to remember that nitrates are of 3 types: ionic nitrates, or salt-alike nitrates, covalent nitrates, and the third one is the interstitial nitrides. Okay, na? Now we go for the study of the individual nitrates. First of all, we move on to the ionic nitrates. Okay, na? Right. Okay. Here, my dears, we know very well that ionic compounds contain ions in them, and these ionic compounds are formed between the metal and the non-metal. Okay, na? We know very well that ionic compounds are formed between metals and non-metals. Okay, na? So ionic compounds are formed between metals and non-metals. Generally metals are the elements which lose electrons and form cations, and non-metals are the elements which gain electrons and form the anions. So naturally when we bring non-metals nearer to the metals, automatically what happens means, otherwise if you provide suitable conditions, metals lose electrons and non-metals gain electrons. As a result, ions are formed. As a result, you get the ionic compounds. Okay, na? So here we have to remember that here ionic nitrates are formed by the S block metals. They are the first A group metals and the second A group metals. First A group metals and the second A group metals. And we know what are the first A group elements. Okay, na? First A group elements are, I am here trying to So look here, first A group elements are lithium, sodium, these are first A group elements, and potassium, rubidium, and cesium, and francium. So first A group elements are lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium, francium. So in order to understand the chemical bonds and inorganic chemistry perfectly, first of all we have to remember the elements in their group wise order. So first A group elements are lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium, and francium. We can remember this one very easily by remembering their first letters in the Telugu. For example, Li we write for lithium, and So for sodium, Po for potassium, rubidium Ru, Lisapo Rusipra, cesium C Fra. So Lisapo Rusipra. So with this acronym, it is a funny acronym. With this funny acronym, we can easily remember the first A group elements. Like that, we can remember all the group elements with this, with such type of the funny tricks or funny acronyms. Okay, now. Okay, these are the first A group elements, and now we move on to the second A group elements. Look here. Second A group elements are, look here, beryllium, magnesium, calcium, strontium, barium, and radium. So these are the second A group metals. We know very well that first A group metals are known as the alkaline metals, and the second A group metals are known as the alkaline earth metals. And the second A group metals are also remembered with a acronym known as the BeMe Castra Bere. So with this acronym or shortcut or trick, we can easily remember what are the second A group elements. Okay, na? BeMe Castra Bere, beryllium, magnesium, calcium, strontium, barium, and radium. BeMe Castra Bere. Okay. So here, these ionic compounds contains ions in them. Generally, nitrogen here in these compounds, as the nitrogen is the most electronegative element, it exists as the N-3 ion, and we call N-3 ion as the nitride ion. And metal ions exist as the cations, whether it may be +1 or whether it may be +2. Okay, na? And in sometimes in these ionic compounds, these nitride ions exist as the complex ions. For example, in lithium nitride, we observe the complex existence of the nitride ion. Okay, na? Li+1 here, 1+1, and one more Li+1 here we would write. So this is the complex ion -1, and lithium +1. So look here, lithium nitride formula is Li3, as we are seeing here. Here one nitride ion combines with the two lithium ions and forms a complex ion, and we also observe one Li+ ion. So like that, sometimes nitride ions may exist as the single ions, or they may exist as the complex ions, simple ions or complex ions. If complex ions are formed when the size of the cations is very small. It is not possible to form complex cations with the big size cations. Okay. Now, when these ionic nitrides undergo hydrolysis, they form the ammonia. This reaction we can easily write, because in nitrides, nitrogen, exists as the -3 ions, and metals exist as the cations, whether it may be +1 or +2. And we know very well that in water we have the H and OH ions, H+ and OH- ions. And during the hydrolysis, what happens? OH minus ions combine with the positive ions, that means metal ions, and H plus ions combine with the negative anion nitride. As a result, in the hydrolysis of the nitrides, we get the what is that, ammonia as well as the metal hydroxides. Okay, now this is very easy to remember, and we can easily write the balanced equation also. Okay, for example, in lithium nitride, Li3 and one nitrogen is there. So here we would write the 3 LiOH here and one ammonia. So like that we can easily write the reactions. In calcium nitrate formula is Ca3N2. So here we would write 3 CaOH2. As here 2 nitrogens are there, we would write the 2NH3. And here 3 into 2, 6 oxygen atoms are there. So here we would write the 6H2O. So it is very easy to write these reactions. There is no need to mug these reactions. If we have an idea, we can easily write these reactions. Now let us move on to what is that, one more reaction related to the ionic nitrates. Look here, when ionic nitrates are reacted with the carbon dioxide, here they form the magnesium oxide along with nitrogen gas and carbon monoxide. So we should not allow the carbon dioxide gas to come in contact with the magnesium nitride, because here more poisonous gas carbon monoxide will be formed here. So that's why it should be contact of the CO2 from the magnesium nitride should be avoided. Okay, na? Then we go for the one more reaction related to the ionic nitrides. That is reaction with the hydrogen sulfide. When magnesium nitride is allowed to react with the hydrogen sulfide, we get the magnesium sulfide as well as the ammonium sulfide. First of all, as usually we get the ammonia. Here also as usually we get ammonia. And then after what happens means this H2S reacts with this ammonia. As a result, we get the ammonium sulfide. So that we have to remember here. And first of all, we get the ammonia. Then after one more H2S react with this one, this released ammonia and the ammonium sulfide will be formed. Okay, na? Then we go for the covalent carbides. Yes. We know very well that covalent carbides are formed between the elements which have almost same electronegativity. So here we know very well that in the P block non-metals exist only in the P block, and we know very well nitrogen is also non-metal. So nitrogen forms covalent nitrides with the P block elements like group 13 elements, group 14 elements, group 15 elements and group 16 elements. So here group 13 means a third A group, that is the old name. Third A is the old name and present IUPAC name is group 13. Fourth A is the old name of present group 14. Group 15 is the present name of the fifth A. In the similar way, sixth A is the what is that old name of the group 16. So like that, this third A, fourth A, fifth A, sixth A group elements react with nitrogen to form the what is that, covalent nitrides. In ionic nitrides we have the anions, whereas the ions. In covalent nitrides we have the molecules instead of the ions. That is the difference we have to remember. And these molecules may be simple individual molecules or giant molecules. Here group 13 elements are boron. Here we try to recollect what are these elements. Okay, look here, third A group elements are boron, aluminium, gallium, indium and thallium. These are third, what is that? Third A group elements. I write once again. Okay. Yes. Third A group elements are boron, aluminium, gallium, indium, and thallium. So how you have to remember bal, gal, in, thal, bal, gal, in, thal. With this acronym, we can easily remember what are third A group elements. Bal, gal, in, thal. B stands for boron, Al stands for aluminium, Gs stands for gallium, In stands for indium, Tl stands for thallium. Like that we can easily remember bal, gal, in, thal. Now we try to recollect what are the fourth A group elements. Okay na? Here, look here. Fourth A group elements are carbon, silicon, germanium, tin, and lead. Carbon, silicon, germanium, tin, and lead. We can remember it as the acronym with an acronym Kashine, Germany में ठंडा ले लिया. Le for lead, ton sounds like tin, so that's why here we are using ठंडा, ton. Germany, germanium. Germanium is discovered by scientist F. Winkler, who hails from the Germany. So that's why the name comes germanium here. And silicon, and first one is the carbon. The acronym is काशी ने जर्मनी में ठंडा ले लिया. काशी ने जर्मनी में ठंडा ले लिया. That is the acronym we have to remember here. Now we move on to the fifth A group elements. We try to recollect what are the fifth A group elements. Look here. Fifth A group elements are nitrogen, phosphorus, arsenic, antimony, and bismuth. Nitrogen, phosphorus, arsenic, antimony, bismuth. Okay. We can remember this as the no parking and arise antibi manchide. No parking and arise antibi manchide. Like that we can remember. Now we move on to the 6th group elements. 6th group elements are well known to us: oxygen, sulfur, selenium, tellurium, polonium. Oxygen, sulfur, selenium, tellurium, polonium. Asacetepo, 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 like that, asacetepo, asacetepo, like that we can easily remember what are the 6th group elements. So covalent nitrates are the nitrates formed with the group 13, 14, 15 and 16 elements. Here generally these covalent nitrates are volatile. Example for the volatile nitrates are ammonia and cyanogen. Here we have to remember one thing, that generally we write the more electronegative elements on the right side and less electronegative elements on the left side. For example, you see the NaCl. Chlorine is the more electronegative than the sodium. So that's why we write here, because it forms anion and it forms cation. So we write sodium chloride. But in ammonia, from the beginning, we write the ammonia formula as the NH3. Even though nitrogen is more electronegative than the hydrogen. Hydrogen electronegativity is 2.1, which is equal to the phosphorus electronegativity, that is 2.1. So phosphorus and hydrogen have the 2.1 electronegativity, whereas the electronegativity of the nitrogen is 3. Even though electronegativity of the nitrogen is greater than the electronegativity of the hydrogen, we write nitrogen on the left side and hydrogen on the right side. So we are writing this from the beginning, so that's why we are continuing like that only. Some covalent nitrates are non-volatile. Some are volatile and some are non-volatile. Under the volatile, second example is the cyanogen. It is very much similar to the halogens. Okay, na? Cyanide is a pseudo halide. Cyanide is a pseudo halide like chloride, bromide and iodide. These are halides. So this is pseudo halide because here, for example, silver chloride is a white precipitate. Okay, in the similar way, silver cyanide is also white precipitate, in similar to the chloride and chloride ion. So that's why such type of halides are known as the pseudo halides. Like that, we have the many pseudo halides. Okay, na? We learn about the pseudo halides in the 7th year group elements. So the molecule formed with the cyanide ions is known as the cyanogen. So we write cyanogen as the CN taken 2, whereas we write the halogens with other halogens as the X2, and we write the cyanogen as the CN2. So like that we write. So ammonia and cyanogen are the volatile nitrides, whereas the example for the non-volatile nitrates are boron nitride, aluminum nitride, and sulfur nitride and phosphorus nitride. Okay, now so these are some examples for the covalent non-volatile nitrides. We move on to the next. Here, these non-volatile nitrates are non-volatile due to their macromolecular or giant structure. Okay, na? So here we can see the giant structure of the boron nitride. Boron nitride is structure is very much similar to the graphite. So we call the boron nitride as the inorganic graphite. Inorganic graphite. So like graphite, boron nitride also has the layered structure, and we know very well that the compounds which have the layered structure act as the lubricants, because when pressure is applied on those materials, those layers slide on the one above the other. So that's why the substances or the materials which have the layered structure can be used as the lubricants. Okay, na? Talc is one example for such a material, and graphite is another one. So like that, many we can find. Next, we move on to the next slide. Here, these covalent nitrates also on hydrolysis produce ammonia only. Ionic nitrates also produce ammonia. In the similar way, boron covalent nitrates also produce the ammonia. For example, here, boron nitride is reacting with water and is producing the ammonia. And here boron changes into the boric acid. Boric acid formula is H3BO3. Otherwise, we can remember it as the BOH taken 3. We can write it as the BOH taken 3 also. So boric acid formula is BOH taken 3. And aluminum nitride also produces aluminum hydroxide and ammonia. So now we move on to the third category of the nitrates, that is the interstitial nitrides. Here once again we try to regulate that ionic nitrates are formed by the S block groups, first A and second A group elements, whereas the covalent nitrates are formed by the 13th group, that means 3rd A, 4th A, 5th A and 6th A group elements. Whereas the interstitial nitrates are formed by the transition elements. We know very well that transition elements are the D block elements. Okay, na? So transition elements means the elements in whose atoms last two shells are vacant, are not completely filled, are known as the transition elements. As these are metals, generally in metals what happens, atoms are very closely packed to each other, like this. Even though they are very closely packed to each other, some empty space are left here and there. Okay, na? So these empty spaces left are known as the voids, or interstitial sites. We can call them as the interstitial sites also. interstitial sites. So when non-metals like carbon, hydrogen and nitrogen occupy these interstitial sites or voids, they convert into the interstitial compounds. Here we can't expect how many non-metal atoms are occupying the octahedral voids, okay na, among the available voids. So here there is no rule to guide them, so that's why we call them as the non-stoichiometric compounds, because they don't have a fixed formula. So that's why we call them as the non-stoichiometric compounds. That means they don't follow any valency rules, so that's why we call them as the non-stoichiometric compounds. And here interstitial nitrates are formed when nitrogen atoms occupy the octahedral voids present in the transition metals. Okay, na? Generally, these are prepared by cooling the liquid metals in the presence of the non-metals. For example, in order to prepare the interstitial nitrates, we have to cool the liquid transition metals in the presence of the nitrogen gas. So when this type of cooling occurs, what happens? The non-metal molecules will be trapped in those voids, and we get the interstitial compounds. These interstitial nitrates are extremely hard and have high melting point. Generally, we know very well that metals are very hard, and they have high melting points. And here we have to remember one point, that S-block metals, S-block metals are soft. S for soft. Like that we can easily remember. We can cut the S-block metals even with a blade or chalk or a knife. Okay, so that's why S-block metals, that means lithium, sodium, potassium, are very soft metals. They are soft but highly reactive, that we have to remember. And D-block metals are hard. So here D for hard, like that we can remember. S for soft, S for soft, D for hard, S for soft and D for hard. So like that we can easily remember. Transition metals or D block metals are the hard metals. For example, we use the iron in our daily life, and we know very well that iron is the very hard material, hard metal. So that like that we would remember. Now nitrates such as manganese nitrate possess the salt-like structure. Even though it is an interstitial compound, manganese nitrate possesses here NaCl. Some metal nitrates possess NaCl structure, and these metal nitrates are unreactive, chemically unreactive. That means strong acids or strong bases do not have any action on these interstitial nitrates. Some metallic properties are retained in the interstitial nitrates also, like metallic luster and high electrical conductivity. We know very well that metals are good conductors of electricity, even though they form the nitrites, interstitial nitrates, they don't lose their electrical conductivity and they don't lose metallic luster. So some properties of the metals are not going to be changed due to the formation of the interstitial compounds. Next, here we move on to some more properties of the nitrates. Here some nitrates do not decompose even at high temperature due to their macromolecular structure or giant structure. They don't decompose. For example, here gallium nitrate, even at heating at 800 degrees centigrade, that even at heating at 800 degrees centigrade, it do not decompose, but it sublimes. Okay, na? Now we go for some applications of the nitrates. Here, generally, here we use these nitrates to prepare the ammonia gas. Ammonia gas. And boron nitrate is used as a lubricant because it has a what is that layered structure. As a result, we use this as the lubricant. Okay, na? Right. So this is all about the nitrates.